Without a doubt, the commemorations of the 50th anniversary of the moon landing was a global media event. There were seemingly no end of well-informed and some not so well-informed documentaries. But amongst all of these, there's one in particular that stands out well above all of the rest. That's Todd Douglas Miller's breathtaking Apollo 11. They say that editing is directing, and in the case of Apollo 11 they couldn't be more right. This eye-opening, jaw-dropping film, compiled solely from archive footage, without any narrator, recreations or contemporary interviews, was masterfully directed and edited by Todd Douglas Miller. The film is 93 minutes of original 35 and 16mm film from the time, mixed with TV coverage, CCTV camera images and some amazing 70mm footage discovered in NASA's archives that's never been seen publicly before. The film follows the whole Apollo 11 mission that enabled Neil Armstrong to take one giant leap in July 1969 to become the first person to walk on the moon. The astonishing archive material goes behind the scenes at NASA as the crew of Apollo 11, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins, prepare for the mission. We follow them onto the Saturn V rocket, and it feels like we go on the mission with them, climaxing with their successful return to Earth and their first brave steps on the PR treadmill to meet an eager world audience anxious to hear their every word. Apollo 11 includes revealing footage from inside mission control, of the crowds gathered to watch the launch, and from the living rooms of the astronauts' homes, as often terrified family members watch every second live on TV. Matt Morton's superb musical score adds perfectly to the drama, dragging the audience in even closer to the tension. They didn't feel like there was a single out-of-place note in the whole film. Apollo 11 is a documentary filmmaker's masterclass, relying solely on original archive footage to tell the story. Todd presents three well-crafted acts. He brilliantly takes the audience through the build-up to the launch. We see the intricacies of the mission, planned to the last detail by NASA, but still not without its fair share of surprises and unexpected alarms on the lunar module. We follow the crew, their families and mission control through the decision to land, those historic first steps on the moon, and then their return home, itself not without its dangers and uncertainties, especially through a radio blackout as the crew battle through the heat of the Earth's atmosphere, and then those memorable parachutes opening, our first clue that they'd actually made it safely home. What can only be described as brilliant editing and sound design combined to recreate the astonishing tension felt by the crew, their families, mission control and just about everyone else in the world who could not have missed the global step-by-step TV, radio and newspaper coverage of humankind's greatest ever engineering achievement. The audience were visibly moved on the edge of their seats when I went to see it, especially when the countdown timer ticked away just before the landing, the fuel gauge indicating they had just seconds before they had to abort if they were to make it home. Todd was approached by CNN Films in 2016 and he was certainly well suited for the task. Not only is he an experienced documentary filmmaker, but he was also completing post-production on his short film The Last Steps, which tells the story of Apollo 17, the last moon mission. Todd worked closely with NASA and the National Archives and Records Administration in Washington to gather the archive footage needed for the film, and it was during early preparations that they discovered unique 70mm film of parts of the mission, which has not been released publicly before. In addition, Todd and his team worked through an incredible 11,000 hours of sound recordings, some of which included 30-track voice recordings from every single mission control station. While processing some of the lunar module voice recordings, they were able to distinguish Jon Stewart's song Mother Country, which was being played by the astronauts while they were returning home. And so quite naturally, the song made it onto the film's soundtrack. As for a rating, I'll give it 5 stars. Apollo 11 is an important historical record of one of our most incredible achievements. It's masterful storytelling and brilliant documentary filmmaking, put together with skill and artistry entirely from archive material and original interviews from the time, and as such has a purity that makes it original, compelling and completely moving. So whether you're into the latest releases or prefer to go behind the scenes with some of our greatest filmmakers, please do subscribe to our channel. We post new videos every week, so there's always plenty to see. Here's a couple more from Rabbit and Snout that you might want to check out. Thanks for watching, see you next time.